This is Ron Carter. This is Ron Carter.
This is Ron Carter with Showreel.
As we continue our search for the arts and culture treasures throughout Butler County, Pennsylvania, in Butler County, Pennsylvania, on this episode of Showreel, of Showreel, of Showreel, of Showreel. Hi there. Well, after that introduction, you probably know who I am, you know the name of the show, and you know the name of the particular landmass that we like to talk about. It has truly been an amazing adventure over the last few months to showcase some of the hidden arts and culture treasures throughout Butler County, Pennsylvania. In this episode, we're going to take a look back at every one of those places that we've stopped, whether it's rural or urban or suburban, because there really has just been so many things to look at on Showreel. What we've discovered is that not only are there so many arts and cultural treasures throughout Butler County, Pennsylvania, there's really quite a wide variety of categories. Everything from performing arts to arts in the retail and business industry to fine arts and also seasonal art forms and some things that just defy description. The first area we're going to take a look at is performing arts, because what we've discovered is that whether it's community theater or professional theater, there is something to see in Butler County.
Butler Little Theater incorporated in 1941, and we bought this particular space in 1945. This is an old carriage house. It was Campbell's Barn at that point, and this is where we did many productions, of course, since 1945.
You've been producing for going on 77 years.
Correct.
Now, in spite of all that, do you still find that people in Butler are still discovering the theater?
Absolutely. It's amazing how often we hear, well, I never knew the theater was here. How long have you been here? How could I not know about it? And that's a question we ask all the time. How could you not know about it?
I mean, it's a block off of Main Street.
Correct.
Something funny about the Nickel Theater, other than the fact that you cannot get there. You cannot get here from there. I could swear I heard banjos when we were driving into town.
We have hired a lot of people to help find this.
Nice to find you. Tell me a little bit about the deal. How did you get started?
It got started back in 1962 in a barber shop conversation between a man named Tom May, who was very much in the theater, and his barber, whose name was John DeWitt.
There's only, clear to the back wall, it's only 75 feet from the stage. So no matter where you're sitting, you're close to the stage, and they did some really good work with the acoustics here.
Wonderful.
And so you can hear everything wherever you're seated.
Yeah, it's such a, people don't appreciate these intimate spaces until they get here.
Right, right. I have a lot of performers that come in and are just amazed at the space, and they love performing.
Well, it was originally built in 1914 by Joseph and Rosalie Sapienza. Now, he wanted to build a fruit market, but a local banker in town convinced him that they could use a theater in town, so he decided he'd give up 2/3 of the building for a theater, but still keep 1/3 for the fruit market, and that's how the Strand came to be.
Excellent.
It was, at that point, silent films, mostly, and they had a piano player playing loud music. It's rumored that the piano player only knew a few songs, so she would speed up or slow down depending on how the movie was going.
The space is just, I mean, there's nothing like it. And
Oh, really?
the audience, it's incredible. I've been in several old movie theaters that have been turned into stage theaters. No one did it as well as the Strand has done it. There's not a bad seat in the house.
Write that down.
There's not a bad seat in the house. You're so close to what's going on stage that you feel like you're a part of it.
Now, we have to get past the white elephant.
Okay.
Bogmeisters.
Bogmeisters. That's a name that everyone should love.
It's certainly distinctive.
It's the masters of the bog. If everyone knows that cranberries, they're grown in bogs. You've seen the different commercials for bogs
right.
and so on. And so as they were trying to come up with a catchy name, the idea was, well, cranberry, you have bogs, and there has to be somebody that's the master of the bog. So we decided to make it like kind of a German touch to it, so it's a Bogmeister.
Okay, so
we're the meisters of the bog.
and it's very exciting that you are.
Yes. We do a lot for veterans. We'll do a
great.
Memorial Day. We do a
Like at
Veterans Day.
Veteran centers, or just go out and perform?
Generally go out at the Adams Ridge, or not Adams Ridge, Adams Park.
Okay.
We have a big veterans event there where
fantastic.
there's a lot of people that show up for that. A
Great.
couple hundred. They were at Richland last year. Quartet sang there. And we'll go into, for Veterans Day, we've had a quartet that's gone to different nursing homes or retirement villages and different places.
Wonderful.
Churches, that type of place. And then at Christmas time is a big time for us to go. The one year we actually visited 11 different places in one day.
With everything that's going on in the world today, we hear so much stuff.
Yeah.
I just wanted to reach out and give people hope, wanted to inspire them. And I told the chorus, my goal for this show was to make a difference in someone's life.
It's truly amazing that you can find community theater and professional theater right here in Butler County. And that's certainly just the beginning. Another area that we've discovered is somewhat we would call the fine arts. There are art galleries. There's places that you can become an artist and join a network. So let's take a look at some of the places we've visited and people that we've talked to in the fine arts category.
Well, when we formed our organization, we were partnering with the township, and they were really happy to have us on board. And we thought, wow, they're happy to have us, we're happy to be here. And so we were really thrilled because the foot traffic here, actually about 5,000 people a week, gave us a lot more foot traffic than we would have gotten in just a standalone gallery. And we've managed to garner almost 85 members from 6 counties surrounding Cranberry Township.
We took ownership of the gallery in August of 2011.
Okay.
The 3 years prior to that, Miranda Berner and her sister Jenny owned it, and they were the ones that came to Harmony with the dream of an art gallery that would showcase local art. Everything in here is made by artists who are either from or live within 50 miles of Harmony.
Oh, really?
Yes, and that was their dream.
Fantastic.
And so when we took over, we just expanded upon that dream. And everything that we do here connects to the mission of joining community to art. We have 85 artists who show in here.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah, 85.
That's incredible.
It's amazing. And they do everything from weaving to photography, some fine art painting. I think the mosaic. We have mosaic guitars that we sell here from Bill Racky, who's a Zelienople native. I also teach classes here for children, children and youth. I teach private classes that meet after school. I have some homeschoolers who come, so they come during the day.
There's 2 obvious components to the Bottle Brush Gallery. One, of course, is all the arts, and then there's the music. But as I look around this space, I notice a distinct lack of digital media. Now, why is that?
Because I'm in love with analog, and I think everybody should be. Analog is evocative. Analog is not listening to music, it's reliving your life.
Obviously, you have an extensive library of vinyl up here, but that's not the extent of it with the music here at the Bottle Brush, is it?
No, it's not. We have live performing artists in here approximately once a month.
The Butler Arts Center got started about 80 years ago.
Really, 80 years?
80 years.
Wow.
And they were meeting at the library.
Okay.
For approximately 50 years. And then this building came open. This is a Masonic temple.
Really?
And so we've been here 30 years on the first floor.
What types of programs take place here? I mean, obviously it's a gallery, it's a beautiful facility, but what kind of shows do you put on here?
Well, currently we have the Butler County Elementary Art School show. In 2 weeks we'll have the high school show. We have the Hobnob Theater. They have 2 weeks here with their theater in the round.
Oh, really? So they put on a live performance in this space?
Correct.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And we fund ourselves through art classes, art parties. We have a pottery studio. We have band nights, probably 2-3 times a month.
Band nights?
Band nights. We have downstairs and upstairs different kinds of bands. Some are hip hop, some are rock, some are heavy metal. It's a community art center. we're not a fine art gallery, although some of the shows we have are terrific. And we've got some unbelievable artists that are members in that exhibit here. But it's a community art center. It's for everybody.
Truly amazing, the variety of art that you can find here in Butler County. Another area that's near and dear to my heart personally is the art and culture of the Scare. Let's take a look. When you come here, of course, you have 1.5 miles to think about what you're getting yourself into when you come off of Route 19, and the road itself is kind of eerie and creepy as you come in. Then you arrive at the barn, and then you take a hayride, which I understand has some scares along in it. And then you have the cornfield, which also has some scares in it, if I am not mistaken. And then you have the haunt itself, which has more scares. And then you take a hayride back, which may or may not have more scares. So you have definitely perfected the art of the fright here in Portersville. Is that not correct?
That is correct. Interestingly enough, we go from scaring people to marrying people. Yes, so
Of course, a perfect match.
Yep, the whole barn transforms into a wedding venue, and we do weddings May through August. Then obviously we have to tear everything down and set up for October.
Have you never had somebody request to get married as part of the Halloween festival?
As a matter of fact, we have had 4 proposals this year so far.
This year alone?
Just this year. And one of the couples is going to get married in that corner. On...
That corner right there?
Yeah, during like an hour that we're not doing anything. And yep.
Well, that is just about as creepy and romantic a thing as I've ever heard. The Northern Nightmares Festival includes a variety of activities and programs, some here at the Strand, and others are taken on the road, if you will, which includes the Nightmare Tour. The Nightmare Tour is a 45-minute tour through the bowels of Zillionople and Harmony. Scary just thinking about it. Another thing that's truly amazing about arts and culture in this area are the fact that so many people have made arts and culture their business at the retail level. It's probably the biggest category that we've discovered so far. So let's take a look at some of those wonderful people who have made their livelihood from arts and culture.
What we do here is we have a specific painting for they're different every night, and it's a 2-hour class. So you come in, sit down, we're BYOB, so you're allowed to bring any food or drink that you like. So if you decide to bring wine or beer, you know, get yourself comfortable before you come in. And then an instructor will actually walk you through the entire class. One of my favorite stories here is actually a group of people came in and their mother has Alzheimer's. And they called, let us know. They said if she ends up having an episode, would it be okay if we just like got up and left with her? And I was like, absolutely, but you know, it'll be fine, like don't worry, just kind of was reassuring her. And by the end of the night, she was remembering her kids' names.
Oh my.
So it was like not what we expected at all.
Well, my husband, back when we lived in New York, he saw a flea market where they had a glass blower and became fascinated with it and would go back every weekend to watch them work, and that's what got him started. So eventually he bought a torch, and 22 years later he's still doing it.
So Tom is the artist of the pair.
Yeah.
He's the one that creates many of the displays that are out here today.
That is correct. However, I have a consignment shop with 30 different artists, so it's people from across the United States.
They can look around the gift shop. If they want to see a demo, I'll fire up the torch and make a little something.
And do you get large crowds here?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we actually had, at one time we had a scout troop that was so large, they had to break it into 3 groups of 75 people each.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had to teach basically the same thing 3 times.
Yes. And we also do children's birthday parties.
Really?
So, yeah, what we did was we had an 11-year-old girl here the other day. It was really great. She said it was the best birthday she ever had. What I'll do is I treat it like a demonstration where I'll make, you know, a solid sculpture or something like that. And then I'll get the kid behind the torch and they get to play around with it. You know, I closely supervise them.
Children in Fire. What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong, right? So, and the best thing about it is there's no charge.
Now, what prompted you to open up a bookstore like this?
My love of books and arts and an interest in getting people motivated to do something creative with their time.
It sounds like you almost curate the books that you sell here.
I do. I like that word. I do.
Just as we were walking in here, I happened to notice what I thought was an old-style newspaper dispenser. But in fact, it is a mini free library. Is that right?
It is. It's part of the international network of the Little Free Libraries, and it is a chartered location that people can look up on the website under Little Free Library to find a location where they can get a book and they can leave a book. I do arts also, so the classes that I concentrate on are regarding historic styles of painting, which is stenciling, which is still a timeless art that people can learn to be creative and artistic with, and it's almost fail-proof. So, you know, it's just...
So even I could do it, you're saying?
Even you could do it,
All
yes.
right.
I also do a technique that's done at the Andy Warhol Museum that Andy Warhol was popular.
Oh, really?
It's called the blotted line drawing. I also schedule a writing class.
Oh, so writing as well as painting?
I do a class in creative nonfiction. I have other artists and instructors that sometimes come as guest instructors.
Oh, really?
To teach different things like mixed media, which is using different materials and paints and maybe feathers and you know, buttons to put
so a whole variety of
into your
media.
Design. Yeah.
I've been very blessed, and as far as the gift shop, it just created itself. I love art. I love to see what other people do, and I think the first item that I carried in my store in '97 was honey, our local honey. We teach classes. We have art classes here. I also I've become a wellness advocate for doTERRA essential oils about 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And we teach safety and use of the oils, the purity, quality, and how to use them. And so we have classes here all the time for essential oils. They're just an amazing health and wellness vehicle that everybody should have in their house, in their medicine cabinet.
How long have you been in this space?
This space, going 2 years. Yeah.
Okay, so you pretty much moved across the street whenever...
Yes, we looked at it together and decided together to make the move, and I moved out of my home studio as Nicolette moved out of her shop.
Right, so this becomes pretty much your permanent creative space.
Yes.
And what kind of media do you cover?
I currently am painting mostly in, it's considered mixed media. Mixed media can be any kind of combinations, but my combination is typically acrylic paints, papers, different textures that I can do with gesso and different mediums. Stamping with my favorite is bubble wrap, using that to create a texture.
Using the bubble wrap to actually put on as a paintbrush almost.
Yes, yes, palette knives. Maps, I like to work a lot with maps and bringing in memories of places for people. It ties into the artwork if it's a commission.
Now, alpacas. Why alpacas?
Okay, it started with something as simple as this. I went to a street fair and saw a teddy bear and had never heard of an alpaca before, and went to the farm where they had the alpacas, and my husband heard about a tax incentive, and it was all over from there. We actually retired here from California. We built a house over in Grove City on the creek, and when the alpacas happened, it blew that life apart, and we decided to move on to the farm, have a simple life, and enjoy the quiet of the animals after being in California for so long.
How do you create these types of patterns?
It's a process where you're just taking natural leaves. There's no dyes in anything.
There's no dyes in this at all?
No dyes in this at all.
So very, very natural.
Very natural, very sustainable. That's the wonderful thing about alpaca too. It's hypoallergenic, so it doesn't itch and scratch. People
so people who might be allergic to wool have no problem with the alpaca fiber. And I notice we have a tribble. Close that door.
More.
There you go, Val. All right. Hey, over here. I am not winning any friends with my cookies. Come on. They're mocking me. They're mocking me. It's like, I'm going to get just this close and then run away. Huh. Yeah, I don't have anything. Sorry. It really seems like this is a burgeoning industry. What's happening with that?
I think it's just a lot to do with the DIY
movement. A lot of people, you know, they're into canning again and making their own bread and all the stuff, building their own furniture and everything. And I think it just has something to do with that.
There's something to be said for just being able to create something with your own
Right.
hand.
Most of our customers are not the blue-haired old ladies. We do get a lot of retired people. I mean, that's a lot of times that's part of the joy of retiring is that you get to follow a hobby.
Sure.
So there are a lot of older customers, but many of them are much younger. It's a very stress-reducing. I actually, just yesterday, had a lady, I didn't even know this was possible. She has an alert on her phone when she's traveling. It'll ping when she's near a yarn shop.
Wow.
So yeah, so she was traveling on the interstate. I know.
The
I was
interwebs
like,
are amazing.
Okay.
Do you have activities or events?
We do. We have classes, and they're everything from learning to knit and learning to crochet. We have weaving classes, spinning classes, the spinning wheels. We have a spinning loft that's upstairs, and we have the roving for that. Needle felting is also very popular.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
So it's basically, my best description is either sculpting or painting with wool.
Leslie, you have a lot of rocks around here. Why is that?
We sure do, Ron. So as you said, we own the Appalachian Rock Shop. The quick summary that we sell and have many varieties of minerals, fossils, crystals, sterling jewelry with stones, items to make jewelry with, and so on from there. We do have fossils, quite a large variety of fossils. Everything we have is natural.
And are the fossils from around here?
They are not. Unfortunately, Southwest Pennsylvania is a rather dull geologic area.
Dull geologic. I see what you did right there. Very well done. Thank you. Leslie, you have some gorgeous jewelry on display here. Is that a big part of your business?
For sure. The jewelry is a very big part of the business. So what we carry is sterling jewelry with stones. Like we mentioned about the minerals and the fossils. Each piece is handpicked out personally by my husband and I for the jewelry design, but more importantly for the uniqueness and beauty of the stone that's in the jewelry. And that is a very large slab of quartz from Arkansas. Arkansas, I think I mentioned before, has some of the finest quartz in the world.
Now this has a retail value, but it's not for sale.
It is for sale.
Okay.
For $13,500.
$13,500. Outstanding value right here at the Appalachian Rock Shop in Harmony. But this is probably a little more my speed as far as a gift type item. And this is very exciting to look at. What is?
So that's a relatively new product here in the shop. That is a onyx lamp from Mexico. We have them in a variety of styles and shapes. But yeah, certainly a beautiful accent for anyone's home.
It's really gorgeous. This piece in particular not only is quite large, but where in the world did you run across a mammoth femur?
So like the rest of our products, we actually purchased that at a wholesale show. We were very lucky to get the opportunity to purchase that. It is not for sale currently because we want to have it here for lots of customers to enjoy it. It's probably one of the most popular like wow type items we have
That is a wow type item. So the entrepreneurs are out there who make arts and culture a part of their everyday business. Our final category simply defies description to fit in any particular label. They're very unique in the county and very unique wherever you go. So let's take a final look at a couple of these great places, both in the urban center of Butler and out in the rural areas of the county. This is such a beautiful museum, and I can't believe it's right here in downtown Butler. So how did all this come together?
Our founder was Mary Holton Phillips, and she grew up and lived here in Butler. And she amassed this collection over about a 40-year period. And as she got older, she was known to have a great sense of humor, and she used to say that you never see a U-Haul following a her. So she decided she needed to do something. She and her husband never had any children. So she started talking about putting together a museum. And indeed, in 2001, out of her home, the museum became incorporated, and they started remodeling this space here. This used to be a light store and a car dealership.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so they ended up modifying everything for the needs of the museum. And they went through what was museum quality and what wasn't. And we have what you have here today.
Now, are you still finding that people don't even realize that it's here?
Yes,
or
unfortunately, we still get that. And when people do come in, they're amazed that it's here. Why is this in Butler? This is such a beautiful museum. It should be in Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Chicago or even New York. We hear comments like that all of the time. But Mary was a big philanthropist in the area. She gave to many nonprofit organizations. And it was important to her that it be here.
What I do for a living is theater organ. And theater organ goes back to the days of the silent films. after the talking films came in, and probably in the event of like the hi-fi era in the 1950s, theater organs experienced a sort of a renaissance.
Really?
There was a very famous organist named George Wright who found a niche with hi-fi labels, and they found that demonstrating hi-fi equipment, a theater organ was a really great thing. It's very dynamic, it goes very soft, it goes very loud, low frequencies, high frequencies. If your sound system or hi-fi could do a theater organ, you had something.
Wow,
And,
okay,
so
interesting.
that was the rebirth, and then from there, believe it or not, there were places that were restaurants, not unlike Shakey's Pizza, except they put pipe organs with all the percussions around the room. So it was, one is still in business in Mesa, and it's called the Organ Stop. I worked for them for about 7 years. Milwaukee. So I did 32 years of playing in pizza parlors, and that was my full-time career.
That is truly amazing.
So the first structure that we built was a small 12 by 16 structure over here in order to get electricity on the property. And that was before power tools, so this was actually built with hand saws and shovel digging.
At what point do you start adding these different features to the campus?
It's almost like every few years we get the urge to build something. I went to the auction, and I ended up getting the winning bid on the Seth Thomas Tower clock. So we can actually go in there if you'd like.
Sure.
That is the 1907 Seth Thomas Tower clock. And this is the one which has the brass trumpets exposed in the front. It was a typical fairground organ back in the early 1900s.
No, I have to get on a carousel. I have to get on a carousel right now. We hope you've enjoyed this recap episode of Showreel that highlights so many of the places that we've already visited, and yet there is so much more out there. So the journey continues as we seek out the arts and cultural treasures throughout Butler County, Pennsylvania. Now, as a broadcast professional, I make it a personal point to rarely, if ever, make mistakes on camera. And yet, our director has managed to find just a few of the, we'll call them highlighted mistakes that have been made throughout the taping of the show, and we hope you enjoy them as the credits roll. And we hope to see you next time on Showreel. What would come to mind? I just had a... That stunk. In Butler, you will, which run parallel to Butler through Slippery Rock and head north on Route 8. Is that his legacy? I screwed it up. Store in. Almost had it. And ring, ting, tingle into. Come on, it's lovely. All right, great cultural jewels. Oh my, that was terrible. Let me try that again. Heck, it may even convince me to give up my 100% polyester blue suit. Nah. I'll do it again. We hope this episode... Almost! Let's take a look. If you would like to find out more about arts and culture in Butler County, PA, be sure to visit the online calendar on the website of the Butler County Tourism and Convention Bureau.